listening? Damn.
Hey guys, I'm Courtney.
And I'm Josh.
Welcome to the Infinite Balance Podcast.
We'll navigate parenting, relationships, health, fitness, and so much more.
So get a drink, pull up a chair, and let's hang out. So welcome to today's episode. It's our first episode. We're so excited to have you guys here.
Hola.
Today we're going to go into a little bit about who we are, our jobs, goals, hobbies, interests, how we got to where we are today, career-wise and in our lives, and we're also going to dive into our relationship a little bit. But first, we kind of want to just go over what the purpose of this podcast is and why we're doing it.
The purpose of this show is me and Courtney, we have a relationship unlike any other. I honestly, truly believe it's an original situation that we have just because we get along so well. We know each other inside and out. We flow really well. And without even thinking about it, we're on the same kind of level all the time. And I think a lot of people pick up on that. So we always get asked the question, how do you stand this? How do you do this? How do you work together with kids? How do you do, how are you the way that you are?
Just a lot of general questions about our lives.
Yeah. So I think that the main idea of this show is to kind of bring it to everybody else and see who we can help. As we'll get into in a couple of minutes. We're in the health and wellness field, and I think this podcast will be a big thing in helping a lot of couples, a lot of new parents, a lot of young parents, a lot of people having a hard time just finding that infinite balance.
We're here to help people.
Yeah. All right. So that's going to be our purpose of the show. I'm going to hand it over to Courtney to introduce herself.
So obviously I'm Courtney. I went to school to be an elementary education teacher and then really got into volleyball coaching and kind of worked my way up the ladder for that. And now I work at the collegiate level. I coach men's and women's volleyball. And I also am an assistant athletic director of facilities and operations and senior women's administrator.
She does that in one breath. It's amazing.
You should see my business card. It looks crazy. And I really enjoy what I do on a day-to-day basis. I want to keep growing within that field and I want to keep exploring it, but I also have other interests, which is where my kind of new life comes in. I do coach Beachbody. My husband, Josh, does not, which is fine. We both have our own thing and our own way of doing things. So I'm a Beachbody coach, which showed me my true passion of fitness. And from that, with Josh, I'm going for my certified personal trainer certification. Then it'll be on to my nutritionist certification. And then from there, I'm going to do other courses for things like injury prevention, just to help in my field of collegiate volleyball and to kind of hopefully one day be able to take that to our own company where we can work together and I could specialize in training athletes. Mm-hmm. That's kind of my goals.
And I'm Josh, if you haven't picked that up already. Surprise, surprise. I am a health and wellness coach. I studied through the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. I am also taking courses in becoming a certified personal trainer, pretty much along the same path that Courtney is with the NASM program. We kind of signed up together so we can learn and grow through the process and, start everything that we want to do together. I've always had issues with my health, with my weight. I come from a very strong bloodline, but there's a lot of issues in the background. So I've always been obsessed with health and wellness without having real information on how to pursue my goals with that. I used to work out and just pick up random tips here and there and kind of piece things together myself. And one day, when I found out about IIN, I just decided that it's time to pull all of this stuff together. And it was a really good program for somebody like me because I believe in the spiritual, I believe in the mental, I believe in the physical. And that's what the integrative nutrition aspect is all about. So that's something I very strongly believe in. Um, just today, I found out that, I looked in the mirror and I was like, I feel so much lighter. And I found out that I lost 10 pounds. And it's not a goal of mine to lose weight. I'm more of like a muscle body type, not like a muscle head or whatever, but losing weight was not my goal, but it goes to show you that once you start finding your own balance in life, it kind of just comes together. You treat yourself better, you do better things for yourself, and you feel better. And that reflects in every aspect of your life. So that kind of sums up what I'm about. And what I want to do with that is help others find their balance. Things can be crazy with kids and life and school and work and everything else under the sun. So it can be hard to find and maintain the balance that people are looking for. So I want to kind of help with that as much as I can.
While you were talking, just kind of came into my head was how we've done a lot together in the sort of short time that we've been together, but school was never something we experienced together. It was how we each learn. And so that was something, especially when we first started the NASM program, in June, it was very eye-opening to us how different we both learn and study. And it's just, like we said in the beginning of this, that we want to be able to help others. But I think it's important for you guys to also know that we are still growing and learning in our relationship and finding new things about each other.
Always. It's more about the journey than it is about any destination. There's no destination when it comes to growth. It's you stopping when you reach your level of comfort, I guess you can say. It's always a learning process, always a process of growth and expanding on what you learn and what you pick up and what you experience. And to elaborate a little bit more on the relationship part of it, me and Courtney had met a while ago. It was just by chance. I was working an overnight shift at a job that we were both working at. She had just started, and I was the one who was supposed to train her in the morning, and I didn't know that. They often kind of just threw me to the wolves and that kind of stuff with that job, and I ended up training a lot of people. Blah 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 blah. So Courtney came in. And I was instantly in love. Like, it was ridiculous. I felt so embarrassed because I was in overnight clothes and my glasses and, I just looked like crap, like I've been through the mill. But as soon as she came in, I livened up and I just, kind of went with the flow of what I was experiencing.
Turn down the charm.
Yeah.
I will say it was definitely, I think, a two-way street with that. There was I think we both knew right away that there was something. I don't know if we necessarily both knew at the time what it was, but there was definitely just something there instantly. And you didn't say it to me, but you said it in front of me. And I don't know if you remember what you said to our coworker when she came in. And it was my first full-time job.
I should give you guys the heads up. I'm a very direct person.
Which I'm not used to, especially as a 22-year-old working their first full-time job. I don't actually know if I was even 22 yet, but that's besides the point. But we were in the kitchen and the coworker who was there to train me after Josh, he just looked at her and he was like, "Why didn't you tell me we had such a cute staff working today? I would have made sure I looked good." And I did not know how to handle that.
Yeah, that's my level of charm. Direct and upside the face.
So that's how our relationship started.
And it was pretty much just a flow fest from there. I think that's the best way I can put it, because no matter what we've experienced or what's been thrown at us, or even in the case of Michael, and when we started having kids, it was like, hey, we're having kids. All right, cool. Let's move. Let's do this. Let's get into it.
Yeah, our relationship has never really been something that's planned. It's always been go with the flow, and just whatever happens next, that's where we go. That's what we do, and that's what we tackle together. And
I think that's pretty much the saying we've had since day one is whatever will happen will happen.
Yeah.
So
it's happening for a reason.
Yeah. So we just kind of learn to go with it and stick it out,
Yeah.
Do what we got to do.
Yeah.
So again, I'm going to hand it off to Courtney and career-wise, what do you think got you, because from a year ago, me and you are at 100% different mentality and place in our
Different
lives
places.
than where we were. So what do you think was the catalyst for that? You started going for Beachbody aggressively. You started working out very hard. You started, going hard on like the social media aspect and doing things like that. What do you think brought that change for you?
I think for me, I've always not been, when you looked at me, you didn't think athletic. I wasn't always out of shape, but I just wasn't athletically built. And
I think we can both say that.
so as someone who's played sports since I was 4 years old, that was always something that was kind of hard for me, was not looking like the girls I played sports with. And even into my adult life, I always kind of struggled with that image. And having 3 kids, it takes a toll on a woman's body. And after we had Philly, I was never able to bounce back weight-wise. I never got into a good routine. Even working in college athletics, it just never happened. I was on this kind of plateau, but it was a plateau where I was getting bigger and I was getting heavier and I was getting more unhappy because of that. And so after Mila was born, I don't know if it's because of the daughter or it's just because of the 3rd kid or because of, health issues that my dad has had within the past year, that I kind of woke up one day and was like, I don't want to keep doing this. I don't want to be on this downward spiral. My great friend that I've known since I was in elementary school we had reconnected and we were talking about her fitness journey, and then COVID hit and I was like, you know what? This is the sign that I'm supposed to do this. And, I jumped in and for like a week I was testing the waters, like just trying to get into a routine. And again, with my friend Kristen's encouragement, she was like, I think you could be really good at inspiring other people. Like, you have that in you. Come just see what it's about.
Mm-hmm. Shout out Kristen.
Well, I'm sure we'll have Kristen on here. So yeah, Kristen kind of just introduced me to this world. And once I kind of tested the waters and I started doing those like questions to my friends of like, hey, if I were to do this, would you be interested in it? Would it be something you followed? Would it be something you wanted to jump into? And I had way more of a positive response than I ever thought I would. And I just said, this is it. Like, I want to be held accountable. I want to have a fitness journey that I accomplish what I want and can help others accomplish what they want. And, in 6 short months, it has become so much more of my life than I ever thought it would. So, that's how I kind of got into this right now, and why 3 kids, I just woke up and said, I need to change for them.
I gotta say, I'm very surprised that of all the avenues that you could have started with, I don't think I would have ever guessed Beachbody would be the avenue. And there's nothing against that.
Yeah.
Like, I personally, with my practice, I don't sell for Beachbody or do anything like that. I don't have anything against it. It's just not a part of what I do, But in regards to Courtney, like, I wouldn't see her as the type of person to do everything that she's doing right now just with that. I could see you doing it in general, like, getting your fitness game on, getting, coming up with things and promoting yourself and stuff like that. But I just didn't expect it to be Beachbody.
Yeah, definitely shocked me too, because I've done Beachbody workouts several times in the past. I did them in college. I did them right before we found out we were pregnant with Philip. So I've done it before and I've never been able to get it to stick. And I think a big part of that is the people I've surrounded myself with in that community this time around. I love the team that I'm part of. I love the team that I'm creating underneath me. But I found a group of friends I didn't know I needed.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's important because I think as parents, we often forget to have friendships. And it's very easy
Definitely.
to put everything on the back burner. And so I think that's really a big part of why I've been so committed and dedicated, because I have this group of friends and I've only met one or two of them in person, but it's a group of people who I cannot wait to like bear hug these women in person one day, because instantly I fit in.
Mm-hmm.
They were my people. Like, we get each other, we can share things with each other, we can tell each other our highs and lows, and if we're struggling with something outside of the Beachbody world, we can tell each other, and we're going to be there to help and support each other. And I don't think I've had that girl friendship that's like I feel like it's a true friendship. I don't think I've ever had that like true group friendship. I've had friendships that I'm very meaningful, but I'm also someone who I keep my circle small.
Yeah.
And so being able to kind of expand my circle and be comfortable with it, that's been a huge reason why I have that drive. I feel like with this is who I've surrounded myself with.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
What about you? How, I've been very impressed like with you, and I've told you this, that you decided to make a career shift. I feel like you had kind of been in the direct support world for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you were doing deliveries for a company. I won't name it, but you were doing deliveries for a company. And, I was so proud of you when you were like, I'm going to go for IIN. And then even, just this summer when you're like, no, I'm going for NASM. What kind of led you to pursue both of those things,
Well, I was featured on a podcast recently called Scars from the Field. And he had asked me the same question. The guy who did it. I forget his name off the top of my head. I apologize. Is it John? It might be John. I'm sorry. I'm horrible with names. So he asked me the same question, and it's your fault, basically. I have always had my own drive when it comes to fitness, and like even when we met, like before I would go into work second shift, I was at the gym for a couple hours, and I could be drinking the entire night beforehand after work or whatever. And then I'd still wake up and go and hit the gym hard before work. You know what I mean? It's been that way since I was a teenager, off and on, back and forth. And so I think what came out of that is I got tired of it being back and forth all the time. I started realizing that I need to engulf myself in it to make it a lifestyle. And, even through my training with IIN, and, I learned a lot. I learned a lot of important things. And I think there was a reason why I had that program first. Because it, really resonated with me, But even after that program, I felt not empty, but lost. I didn't know where to start. I didn't know. I was trying to build a website. I was trying to like, hey, promote this and take this vitamin and, this is what this does for you and get into things like that. But I didn't know, what I was doing. And I think when I saw you just going for it, it kind of gave me the inspiration of like, well, what do you have to lose? When you start, at the bottom of the barrel, for lack of a better way to put it, you have nowhere to go but up and out, And so I just had to have that thing with myself. And it's been a long process. It's not been a simple process for somebody like me, because, you know, I was very stuck in a routine. I was very, I didn't have any good, you know, habits. Well, I had some good habits, but it was a rough go, you know, learning things and doing things, and I was getting stressed out. And I think now I'm at the level where I'm supposed to be at, where I've found that harmonious level that I can be on, you know? And you instigated that for me because, like I said, what are you going to lose? You know, like if you don't go for it, you're just going to miss it, you know? So I saw you doing that and getting positive responses back and, you know, really like uplifting yourself. And I kind of just was like, wow, you know, I should be doing something, you know? And it wasn't in like a competitive spirit, although it was. We have that little touch to us, you know?
A little bit.
Well, it's not a horrible
No.
thing, but like, you know, sometimes we, like with the NASM thing, like we were kind of bantering a little bit back and forth, and then we had to agree not to be competitive with it, you know? It started out as fun, but I think we both ended up taking it a little too seriously or whatever. But it's not a big thing, you know? But sometimes that competitiveness between us motivates each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I think once we start seeing the other person doing something or reaching a certain level, we feel not that you have to keep up, but we feel like it's a motivator, you know? I don't know how to put it into better words than that. So that's where that comes from. It's your fault.
It's always my fault. You know, I think it is good to note, you know, for anybody listening that's trying to jumpstart a new career or make just a general change, that the hardest part is starting out. It's saying yes. It's choosing to make a change, and it's choosing to go after something that you love. And I will say I've learned this, and I still am learning it, and it's sometimes very hard to accept, but it's not going to be easy right away. You know, when you start off, that is the nitty gritty. It's not pretty, it's ugly, but it's the hard work. And, you know I'm enjoying the hard work process as much as I'm not, because I know I'm showing, and you're showing our kids, that if you want something, work for it. Like, nothing in life is going to come at you easy. And, you know, like I said, for anybody listening, looking to make a change,
Just get started.
I gave this advice to someone recently, and I've heard it from many like self
motivational.
Yeah. I just lost the word, but self-motivational podcast, where if something scares you about making a change, that means you're headed in the right direction. And I know that was definitely something with me. Making this change was scary because, like you said, of all the things I could get into, I don't think either of us thought this was going to be the biggest change for me. And it was scary. And I think the same was for you. It's scary, and you don't know if it's going to work out, but you have to just take that leap and say yes.
Yeah. There was a speaker at IIN. They had a whole section about it, about following your fear. The speaker's name was Maston Kip. He's a very public guy. You know, everybody knows about him. If you don't, look him up on any social media, you'll find out. He was a speaker at my school through IIN, and that was his quote: "Your fear is telling you the direction you need to go. If you can be afraid of something, and that's fine, but there's a reason you're afraid of it, and it's not so much a matter of face your fear; it's a matter of walk with your fear. Because when you do it like that, you start to get an understanding of yourself, of what you're capable of, instead of just going headfirst and, you know, aggression and diving into this thing. When you walk with it, you start to understand, why was I afraid of this in the first place? Oh my God, because I'm not the type of person to post pictures of myself on Instagram. That was, you know, me starting out. I wasn't scared of it. It just wasn't something I did. Yeah. And I think when I started, walking with my fear and pushing that stuff and, you know, just taking that one little initiative is what changed the whole game for me. And then it almost becomes, like, tell me if you agree, it almost becomes like addictive to
Yeah.
do that. You find something new and you're like, how can I integrate that?
Yeah.
Or
it's learning to be comfortable being uncomfortable.
yeah.
And it truly, I think that was a great way to say it, is that it's addicting, because I even know, like, I don't mind putting pictures up of myself on Instagram or Facebook, but I wasn't someone who would post transformation pictures.
Yeah.
I wouldn't take a picture in leggings and a sports bra to show my progress. I wasn't someone who was comfortable with, on a daily basis, posting videos of myself working out. And now there are still days where I kind of cringe and I'm like, oh, I don't know if I want to post it. But it's that feeling of becoming comfortable being uncomfortable that I kind of just want to keep chasing. Like, and that's how I'm going to grow, by continuing to chase that feeling.
I think a big part of what we both noticed in pursuing these goals is that, the law of synchronicity is real. And it's basically, what you put out there, you'll get back. And you'll start noticing that when you make your beliefs and your real truth public, not, like shouting it from the rooftops, you don't have to like put it whatever, but as long as you live your truth, you start attracting your truth. And you start meeting people and seeing things and learning things that are more in line with your path and your goals at that time. And I think once we started doing that, I'm amazed at how many people, even in my fatter pictures on Instagram, I'm just like starting my journey or whatever, they're so inspirational. And I think a lot of people are afraid to start putting pictures of themselves up because they're scared of what they'll hear or scared of what they'll see. And it's just amazing, of the response you get,
I actually put a post up like that today. It was my Thursday tip was smile, be happy, and laugh. There are so many people in the world who are negative and want to bring you down, but be the light in everybody's world, and it's funny how contagious it can be. People I haven't talked to in years will reach out and be like, I love watching your journey. You're so inspiring. And I've never thought of myself as someone who is inspiring. So it's also a really cool feeling to hear that. And I think you can agree that putting yourself out there, it's uncomfortable and it's scary, but if there's something you want to do, go do it.
Do it.
Find a way to do it. I mean, it's not easy. We're both raising 3 kids. We both have jobs that are long hours, and then we come home from our jobs and still have to raise our kids while trying to run our own businesses. And it's hard, but I think in the end, it's definitely going to be worth it, because it's going to get us to be where we can decide what we want to do in our lives. And we can have more freedoms.
I agree. Another aspect of the show that we definitely want to touch on, when you have kids, it can be so hard to find a good balance, to find where your health is, to eat good, whether it's affordability, whether it's exercise, whether it's just having some patience once in a while. That's something I had a hard time with.
I think we both do.
Yeah, and we're learning, and it's a big part of the process. So I think that's important to touch on in this, because it's going to be a big aspect moving forward. A lot of the people that we're going to talk to are parents. A lot of the it doesn't have to be strictly that, but it's going to be a big part of the show. That's what we're here for. Even if you're not parents, you have some sort of imbalance in your life. That's what this show is to bring. Balance in your relationships, balance with your kids, your health, your wellness, your nutrition. So just in our journey so far with our kids, what has been like your biggest challenges with health, wellness, fitness, stuff like that. Me and you, you know, anything like that. What's been challenges that you've learned from or that you're still trying to face?
I would say my biggest challenge is not reverting back to my old ways. I think it's very easy when you're busy working and raising a family and holding a relationship. It's very easy to put yourself on the back burner and to put your health and fitness and wellness on the back burner. And I've tweaked it a million times and I probably will continue to tweak it because with seasons in your life, you have to adapt and adjust. But for me, it's been very important to have a morning routine. And even a nighttime routine. I know if I at night don't get to lay in bed for at least like a half hour and just unwind and watch TV and watch The Office, like it throws me off.
We're really big fans of The Office.
Like really big fans. Josh has a mug right now with Jim Halpert on it.
It says I love Jim. I'm not afraid. I'm not ashamed of it.
So we're big Office fans, so I had to give that plug. But if I don't like have that half hour, I'm not gonna sleep well. I'm not gonna fall asleep. It's just I won't be relaxed. And my morning routine is more where I struggle and I need to change it often. I actually just changed it the other day. And my morning routine starts at 5 a.m. And if I'm not up at 5, I adjust and I adapt, but it definitely makes it harder because I do have it very scheduled, since I'm just getting back into it, I'm still integrating things into it, but by next week, my goal is to have my morning routine be 5 a.m., wake up, work out, and then by 5:30, because my workouts are only like 35 minutes usually, so by 5:30, 5:35, I can hop in the shower, take a cold shower, because that's a new part of my routine is a cold shower.
It's awesome.
Honestly,
I highly recommend it.
I was so nervous to do it. Do it. Take a cold shower. It's also, if you're a female or a male with long hair, it is so good for your hair. Cold showers are so good for your hair. It blew my mind.
Yeah, my beard feels better.
It's just my hair is so soft. But take a cold shower and then sit down with a full glass of water and read. I'm going to read for 10 minutes, take notes, and then I can start working my business. And I start working my Beachbody business in the morning because I don't want to take time for my kids. And when I'm at a full-time job, I don't have time. I have a very busy job.
Very difficult. Very difficult.
So it's finding time for you. I take in the mornings an hour to an hour and a half just for me. And I wake up at 5 because we don't have the kids up at 5 a.m. for the most part. And so that's... Hopefully. Knock on wood.
Once in a while.
But that's when I have my me time. And so, once I started going back into work, that was definitely a challenge. Was still having that motivation to find that time for myself and not just sleep until I had to get up.
It's hard. I know, if you don't mind me following up on your question. Or my question for you, I should say. I'm not the same. I tried doing it both ways. My old habits were staying up late, playing video games, hanging out, drinking once in a while, stuff like that. Like I would just get lost in time. And sleeping until hopefully 8 o'clock in the morning and racing to get the kids up and get everybody out the door for whatever we got to do for the day, stuff like that. And I didn't even realize it was driving me crazy. And then I tried doing the same thing that you were doing, waking up, sometimes even at 4:30, 4:45 in the morning, and it's just, I found that I'm just not 100% that type of person, but I do need my time. I need my time the same way. Like I just take it differently is all. I don't take like an hour and a half or whatever. all of my friends have different schedules. My hobbies can run late, or I find a lot of podcasters, a lot of interviews I've been doing, a lot of health and wellness meetups and stuff like that to coordinate things have been running a little bit later in the night. So I find that be like around 5:30, 6 o'clock, 6:30 sometimes. I try not to run any later than that because then it impedes my day. And, I tried to get up, take some time, and some mornings we don't even talk that much.
Well, I think today I left before you were even up.
Yeah. And that's fine. It's just how you do. It's getting time for you no matter what that means. We still take time for us at night. We take time for us when the kids are sleeping and you're home, things like that. But it doesn't have to be, every spare moment it's me and you time.
Yeah.
You need time for yourself somehow. And I give myself that like a half hour, 45 minutes, sometimes an hour,
Yeah. You have to find what works for you. It's going to be different for everyone, and I think honestly, I know everyone says like 2020 sucks, and there are definitely things about 2020 that aren't great, but I think for us, I mean, obviously we had our baby girl and she completes our family. So I think
this year has been one of the best years.
2020 has been good for us. Like I was saying, we have our baby girl. We both were able to find ourselves. And I think COVID was very good for us in the sense that we were kind of able to test what works for us. I found out during COVID that I need to wake up at 5 and have a routine, or my lack of discipline, I won't get it done later in the day. And you gave it a shot, and we were able to kind of just test it out and see what works for us. And I think now we know what works for us at this point in our lives, and it's now incorporating it into
real life.
I feel like real life just kind of like it hit us in the face once it started back up, because it was like everything started back up. But I think we're doing good with it.
Well, I feel like as you're saying it, the instant thing that came to my mind was, wow, we've been through so much in the past 6 months. Honestly, it's been pretty much our time together.
Yeah.
We've been through a lot. There's been a lot of changes. There's been 3 kids. There's been, our life, it tends to be a roller coaster ride. And I think it's like that because we can handle it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the real key that we can bring to everybody else's life, is that it's in our flow. It's us. We are our own infinite balance. And I think some of the methods that we do are very unorthodox. Not many people can come up with the things we do, or get inspired the way we do, or experience the things that we do. And I think it's the same thing for everybody. Everybody has different situations, but I think that's our gift that we can give to everybody, is, no matter what. At one point, we had our son going through constant anxiety issues and, tics and things like that. We were having behavior problems with our top 2. And at the same time, Dad was in and out of the hospital 20 times, It was a lot of craziness this year.
While we lived with them.
While we lived with them, and, maintaining a house, living with everybody else, and living with with COVID in times of, after your father had his kidney transplant and things like that. There's been so much craziness.
Yeah.
But there's been so much growth from that craziness. And I feel like as hard as it was to start getting back into the work routine, we were also not prepared for it, but it wasn't as hard of a hit as it would have been if it was easy going this whole time, And I agree. I think 2020 was a huge year for us. Yeah. I think it brought a lot of things into perspective, which is funny because 2020 vision and all that stuff. Bringing it back to New Year's.
Dad jokes.
So, I think it's been an important year for us to realign with ourselves, and more importantly, but also with each other, with our kids.
Yeah.
And really come together and make it work, make it happen,
Yeah, I completely agree. I think, and that's why we're doing this.
Mm-hmm.
We want to kind of be able to help people get where they want to go and
Mm-hmm.
know that, you know, there are people out there who it might not be the same thing they're doing, but like we're there with you. We want to like help people. We want to hear from you guys on how we can help you, and that's our jobs right now.
Yeah.
We're taking this on and we're ready. Something to note about us, we can get off topic. We asked a question about challenges and ended up with we want to help people. That's us. All right, so next we are going to jump into something I'm really excited about. We're going to do this.
She named it.
We're going to do this at the end of each podcast. So what we're going to do is we're going to ask each other 3 questions in kind of a lightning round. And it's just going to be 3 rapid fire questions. No time to think about it. Just ask it, answer it, move on. And we want you guys to come up with questions. Help us out with this. Check the show notes for where to get in contact with us to drop your questions that you want to hear answered in the lightning round. First question. Are you ready? Just do that.
It's the lightning sound.
So are you ready for your first question? No thinking.
Sure.
Ready?
I cheated, though. I read this question.
All right. So, biggest accomplishment to date besides our kids? No thinking.
I know. It's hard. It's hard for somebody like me because I'm a head thinker.
Yeah.
I forgot what that's called. So, for me, my biggest accomplishment hasn't happened yet, but I know it's going to very soon.
Good answer.
So, to follow up with that question now, if I had to pick something that has happened, it is getting over myself and deciding to stop living by the rules I was taught. I was taught you work hard, you play hard, that's how life is. And that I'm not saying it's not, but I was always on the idea that I had to, at one point I worked 3 jobs, to make as much money as I possibly could bring in without driving myself absolutely crazy. And I'm realizing that's not how I have to live. There is a way to sustain our family. There is a way to support ourselves. And without driving ourselves into the ground and doing things that, whatever, it's a job and I come home, So that, I think, is my biggest accomplishment, is when I decided to stop that process and start with IIN and start with NASM. All right.
Oh my gosh.
All right. 2-part question, no thinking.
Oh, man, okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Technically 3-part.
Oh my
We'll
gosh.
see. All right. What was it like for you becoming a young mom? When did you know you wanted to become a mom, or did you know you wanted to become a mom?
Okay, so I'm going to answer the last parts of those first. So I have always wanted to be a mom. I've just always known I love kids. Even as a kid, I took care of kids. I was in church and I was 7 years old, maybe not even, maybe 6. And I would go play with the younger kids, and my parents actually had someone ask if I could babysit, and I was 6 years old. I was a tall 6-year-old, I will say that, but I've just always gravitated towards being that mom figure. And what was it like for me being a young mom? It was awesome. It was definitely had its challenges. I was the only one of my friends to have kids, especially at that age.
How old were you when you had Michael?
We had Michael when I was 25.
Mm-hmm.
Found out I was pregnant at 24. Had him when I was 25. So not a super young mom.
Yeah, not like teen mom, but young.
I feel for this day and age, 25, there's not a lot of people who have kids.
Quarter life crisis.
What up? Yeah, quarter life crisis. I had a kid.
Yeah.
I like it. I loved it. My mom and I were actually the same age when we both had our first child, and so that was a really cool connection point to my mom. And I just am real. I loved it. I feel like that's so me. Like, I've always wanted to be a mom, and so I'm happy I had kids when I did.
Cool.
Ready for your second question? If you could be anybody in the world, who would it be?
Myself. And
Nice.
It's a tacky answer, but and I don't want it to be a cliche thing. But I've struggled with this for a long, long time when I was a kid. I've wanted to be everybody else. At times I wanted to be anybody but myself. I was bullied in school. I was, I as good of a life as I had, it was also a bad life, It was pretty solidly equal with all the stuff. We'll get into that in later episodes.
Yeah.
But, I've always wanted to be somebody else. And then one day I just came to the realization I can be that person that version of somebody else, but my version. Mm-hmm. I was a big superhero fan. I still am. But growing up, like, I had Power Rangers, I had all that stuff, and I was like, I want to be the White Ranger, I want to be the Red Ranger, I want to be this, that, the other thing. And I have, our kids have all my old
the
action
figures are right next to me.
Yeah. So, I always, like, idolize these people, and I'm like, but there's no reason I can't be that person, but my version of
your
it.
Your own superhero.
Yeah. And, I think that's the answer. I think I would rather not be anybody else because nobody can be like me.
No.
And I don't think you guys get the gravity of that yet.
You will.
Nobody can be like me.
In a good way.
Yeah.
It's a good thing.
Again, there's a lot of good and bad to it, but it's a positive thing.
It's thing.
Yeah. So that's what I got.
All right. What's up for next for me? No lightning sound this time?
I got to read the question first.
Yeah.
What is the biggest thing that you've learned about yourself over the course of your life?
Oh, the biggest thing I've learned. Wow. I'm trying to not think about that.
No time to think. Just do it. Do it.
The biggest thing I've learned, I'm capable of doing way more than I think I can, and I'm way stronger than I believe myself to be. I just feel like time and time again I've proven that to myself in just different times in my life, but I find that I've really learned that as an adult. I was scared to give birth, and it was not an easy delivery with Michael, and I was able to do it. I didn't think I was going to do it, and I did it, and I am proud that I've done it 3 times, because if you asked me after Michael, which you did, I was like, nope, we're done, never having another one, and so I overcame that, and I think even now in life, working full-time with 3 kids, I never thought I would do that or be able to handle it, and I can. And even just fitness wise, I'm doing more in the last 6 months with my health and fitness that I never thought I could. I always thought it was impossible to get back in shape, and it was impossible to lose weight, and I didn't have it in me, and it would never happen, and I'm doing it. So I think that's definitely it. I am able to accomplish more than I ever thought I could, and I'm capable of more than I think I am, and I'm stronger than I give myself credit for.
It's a good answer.
Ready for question number 3? Can't. Who is your biggest role model, or who do you look up to the most?
My dad. That's 100% definitive. I don't even have to think about that.
Yeah.
My dad was the only person I've ever really thought that understood who I was before I even understood it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a very original type of person. I think differently. I act differently. I do a lot of things, differently. I'm my own unique thing. Human, whatever.
You're human.
Entity, spirit, soul, getting deep,
Yeah.
But I think on some sort of like metaphysical level, my dad really had a sixth sense for who I was, and he was able to connect with me in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And he was my inspiration for everything. He had poor health, because he had sarcoidosis in his lungs and things like that. So, but he still tried. He did what he could. He couldn't play sports with us most of the time, but he still, worked his butt off and really tried to support everybody. Really tried to drive home like a moral compass. It's not like what everybody else thinks of morals, but how to be a good human being,
Mm-hmm.
And I look upon him with a lot of strength and respect. Even a lot of things I fought him for and argued and whatever. I look back and I was like, wow, he had so many deep lessons that I'm still learning them,
Yeah.
And he was way ahead of his time. So, my dad, 100%.
I will say I was never graced with the opportunity to meet your father, but we've always said that I feel like I know him.
Oh my God, yeah.
Which is something that, like, I don't know if people understand it, or if I had that, but, I've just, and I think that's always helped our connection, is that just from what I've heard and learned about your dad, I've just always kind of felt like, yeah, I knew him,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a cool feeling to have.
Ready for your final?
Yeah. Oh, God.
This is a sort of a 3-part question.
Oh, my gosh. These the questions.
How do you think you'll grow as a person, mom, and wife in the near future?
How do I think it? I think I'm just always going to be growing. I think as a mom, I'm going to grow with my children. I'm going to adapt to them. I think I have to really learn and grow to not be a helicopter mom as much as, because I don't want to be, but my anxieties push me there.
Mm-hmm.
What were the other two?
Wife and my person.
Okay. So growing as
You're thinking.
a wife, this is a hard one. I didn't think mine were this hard for you. As a wife, I think I'm gonna grow again with you. I think we're growing together, and I think that as a wife, my journey that I'm on right now for myself is only going to make me a better wife and a better mom and a better person. I think that I'm going to get to the point where I've always seen myself as, having the patience level with my kids and being a better communicator with you. And as a person, just being, I don't want to say a more caring person, because I do think I'm a pretty caring person, but having more sustainable relationships, friendship-wise, as a person. I think that's where I'm growing to right now, is to kind of live the life I've always wanted to live, but just never had the discipline to.
Yeah, I feel like we're both on that kind of...
Yeah, I've always wanted those long-standing relationships, and like I said, I keep my circle small, and I have friendships that I've had for years, but I don't have a lot of them, and I think I've always wanted them. And so I'm growing to that as a person, I feel like.
And I think what you're thinking too, correct me if I'm wrong, is like what we kind of touched on before, is that we're finding a lot more people now who are in line with the path that we're on.
Yeah.
The synchronicity stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that's, roundabout way of saying what you're trying to say is, that's coming. That's
Yeah.
our next step, and we're gonna, we're starting to meet these people already. Now our relationships are growing.
Yeah.
To wrap it up, this was a little bit longer of an episode than we're going to be doing. I can't say 100% what time, we're going to cut it off at. We want it to be pretty natural. If conversation
Organic.
comes and we want to put it up, we're going to put it up. Our goal is to be real. It's to be truthful. It's to be organic, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun doing this.
Yeah, we're definitely going to cover a large variety of topics, I feel. And like I said before, if there's like a topic you guys want to hear,
hit us up.
let us know.
Holla.
Oh my god. We're ridiculous. But yeah, we want to help people. I think we've said it 1,000 times today. But we want to help people, so we're going to do our thing and talk our truth, but we want to know what you guys want to hear about. And you might not be able to tell us just yet because this is episode 1, but it's just that reminder that we're here for you, and let us know.
Let us know.
We
I
got
agree.
you.
That's right. And my lightning sounds are here to stay, so I don't really care how you feel.
We might have to replace those.
So, I think that's about it.
We will check